Well, I was not able to get hold of someone by calling the first contact phone number listed at the TSA website. All I got was a multi-step menu that apparently if you do not choose one of the choices given, the automated attendant, teller, whatever, that answers the phone hangs up on you. So I cruised around the TSA website, and I've come upon the TSA Ombudsman, and there's a number listed here I'm about to dial, and it says here under the TSA Ombudsman, this is the text at the TSA website now, besides being a resource for TSA employees, the Office of the Ombudsman may be able to assist members of the general public who have questions or concerns about TSA processes, programs, or procedures. The general public should bring issues to the TSA Ombudsman only if all other available resources for resolution have been unsuccessful. So I'm looking for information because I can't find it at the website, a specific question I have in mind to ask. And so I think this qualifies for I'm not bringing an issue, I guess, to the TSA Ombudsman. I have a question for the TSA Ombudsman. Only if all other available resources for resolution have been unsuccessful. And they have been, because all I have is your website, and the website doesn't list my question, and when I call the main contact number, I can't get any information that way.
Confidential problem
so here we go.
Assistance to TSA employees and the traveling public. If you are seeking Ombudsman assistance, please press 1. For all other callers, please press 2. Your call will be directed to the next available agent. Thank you for calling the Office of the Ombudsman. My name is Ruth, and I'll be assisting you today. Can I start with your first name?
Yes, my name is Pierre.
Pierre.
Pierre, that's correct, yes.
Thank you. Your last name?
Is that required?
Are you, well, it depends on what you're needing. Are you trying to reach the Office of the Ombudsman? Are you a TSA employee?
No, I'm not an employee. I'm a member of the general public at large, but I'm at the TSA website, and I was trying to get a question answered that is not answered at the TSA website. And I called the main contact number for the TSA, and that there was a multi-step menu that I sat and listened to, none of which applied to me. So I tried to circumvent the menu by hitting O for operator, and then I was hung up on. The TSA automated attendant hung up on me. So I searched around the website a little more, and I found the Ombudsman here, and it says at the website, the general public should bring issues to the TSA Ombudsman only if all other available resources have been successful. And now it's not an issue, it's a question, but the resources that I have, which is your website and the phone number that hung up on me, those resources have not been successful, and so I'm hoping to get my question answered more specifically because I have not flown for a number of years and I want to fly, but I have some concerns before I fly.
Oh. Okay. Well, I can actually connect you directly to someone in the contact center. Now, just for the record, I'm also required to ask if you want to provide your phone number, but you can refuse that as well. So if you'll hold on for me for just a moment, I will locate an agent to speak with you.
Okay, thank you. Isn't that amazing that she can get me an agent directly, though I could not get that through the website, though? At the website, well, you went through it with me. You heard the menu that I had to sit through, the 5 steps, and I was trying to circumvent that, and TSA hung up on me. So now I'm on hold. This is the fun part, where she's going to, the lady I talked to at the Ombudsman office, said she could get me directly to somebody at the contact center. So hopefully this won't take too long.
Thank you for calling the TSA Contact Center. My name's Chris. Am I speaking with Pierre?
Yes, sir. That's my name, yes.
Oh.
And you're Chris?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And how can I help today?
Now, I know, like the IRS, when you call the IRS, there's like an employee number or badge number or something they give you. Do you guys do that at the TSA or not?
We don't have a badge number, but I do have what we call an event ID number for this particular call.
An event ID number. That's okay. That won't help me because really I was interested in employee identification, see, possibly. So, okay, now I have not flown for a number of years, and I was trying to get a question answered that I did not find at the TSA website, and I called. There's a contact number at the TSA website, which I also called, and there's an automated attendant answers the phone and walks you through a 5-step menu, 5-choice menu, I should say. None of those addressed my needs, and I tried to circumvent that menu, and sometimes you can do that on phone systems and hit the O button and you'll be transferred to a live operator, but instead this automated attendant hung up on me, which is how I ended up with the ombudsman, and apparently the ombudsman has a direct line to you guys, so that's cool. That's how I had to get to you guys on the phone. So I don't know. That may be a concern I would like to express, is that it seems to be hard to get someone on the phone live based on the information at the website. That was not a concern before today, but it is now. My main concern, though, is since I have not flown since the TSA has been doing airport security. Are you still with me? Okay, since I have not flown since before the TSA, and I'm wondering about the touching of genitalia, because I see tons of videos out here with TSA agents, touching people on the genitals, and I'm a little nervous about that. What's the policy regarding that?
Well, our pat-down procedure, if you need to go through one anyway, is that they'll run their hands until resistance. So it varies a little bit from one person to the next where that resistance is actually at.
Can you wait? What does resistance mean? You mean like I resist, or what do you mean by resistance?
Oh no, until their hand meets resistance.
So if the top of their hand,
your hands are hanging, lower than wherever they meet that resistance for your pants, is basically where they're going to stop.
Oh, so I'll be flying with my girlfriend, and she wears tight pants. So when they get up to her, we'll call it her hoo-hoo, I guess. I don't know what else you want me to call it, but when they get up to her hoo-hoo, they're going to stop, right? And is this going to be a female patting down my girlfriend?
Yes, sir. It's always somebody of the same gender who does the pat-downs.
Okay. So if I'm wearing some tight jeans and I have some, then if they're going to go till they meet resistance, and that could be my groin area, and then at what point? Why do I see videos then of pat downs of genitalia? Why do some agents opt to actually touch penises? Albeit through the pants. I don't see them opening the pants, but why are they running hands up and down penises? I don't know if I want a TSA agent to do that to me.
Well, the only reason I can think of that they would ever actually fully pat down a groin area or chest area on a woman would be if one of two reasons. There's an anomaly specifically in that area that they can't explain, like if they go through the walk-through metal detector or the advanced imaging technology and it has an anomaly in that area. Like, an example would be somebody who would wear a cup going through the straight point. That's going to set off an anomaly, and they're going to have to figure out what that anomaly is. The only other reason I can think of would be if they've gone through the pat-down, they've gone through the walk-through metal detector, the advanced imaging technology several times, and they still can't figure out what the anomaly is. They do what they call what's the word I'm looking for? Resolution pat-down.
Is it resolution?
Last-ditch effort.
Is a resolution pat-down the politically correct way of saying cavity search?
No, not cavity. No, just like I said, that's what we call our last ditch effort. If they the very last thing they'll do a pat down of sensitive areas.
Okay, so a last-ditch effort or a resolution pat-down is done where? In a private screening area?
Yes, if you want. I mean, you don't have to accept a private pat-down, but they offer it, and they suggest that you even ask for it. So,
is this with my clothes on or my clothes off?
With your clothes on. We won't ever ask you to disrobe it and take anything off.
Never. Now, what are your policies for me being able to videotape the entire process?
As far as video and pictures,
right?
We don't have any restrictions on it. Some airports themselves have restrictions as far as video and film of security procedures, and some local law enforcement do. But
right. So any violation of my constitutional rights then at that point would occur because of the local airport or local authorities, but not because of the TSA. Correct?
I'm not sure what you mean by constitutional rights.
Well, I have the right to film any federal employee at his or her job in the course of his or her duties. See, so you don't have any restrictions on that. But if that rule was to be imposed that I could not videotape, then it would come from that airport or local law enforcement authorities, but it would not come from TSA, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. Next question. Gloves. I see that you guys wear nice blue snap-on gloves. Do you change those from one pat down to the next? I've been in an airport where I've observed them not, so I don't know what your policy is. Are they supposed to change?
If there's any signs of traces of explosives, they always change their gloves to get fresh gloves that don't have any traces. And if they go through one to the next and don't, for some reason, you can always just ask them, will you change your gloves?
Right, because I've been in an airport. I just haven't flown, and I've seen a TSA agent doing pat downs where they went right from one passenger to the next. There were no explosives involved, but one passenger right to the next with gloves on, and I could tell you that's wholly unsanitary. So the TSA policy then is that they should get a fresh pair of gloves then for each pat down?
It's not necessarily a requirement, no.
Oh, it's not.
But anybody can ask them to. If that is a concern, you can ask them to change their gloves.
Okay, but it's not a TSA rule then. They don't have to put on fresh gloves, but I can request that.
Not that I know of. Let me double check.
Because that's a big concern because people foresee that gloves are somehow people are safer if we wear gloves, and to some extent that may be true. The TSA's agents' hands would be clean for sure, but once his or her gloves have touched anything, once they're outside the package and they've even touched, if he scratches his forehead, then he shouldn't be touching me. If he touches another passenger in front of me, he shouldn't be touching me with that same pair of gloves.
The information that I have states that TSA security screeners are instructed to wear gloves when conducting physical inspections of property and pat-down inspections of individuals. Screeners must only wear if they issued gloves when performing screening functions and will use a new pair of gloves whenever a passenger requests that they do so. Screeners must also inspect their gloves regularly for stains, tears, and other signs of damage and replace their gloves as necessary.
Okay, so really it's kind of at the discretion then of the employee or a requesting passenger then.
Yes,
okay,
right.
Okay. Last question. Then because I've seen TSA agents searching genital areas and patting down women's breasts and things of that nature. There must have been anomalies involved as you described. How does TSA screen its employees to be sure that you're not hiring previous sex offenders? What's the assurance? What's your background checking procedure to screen those people out?
In all honesty, sir, I'm not 100% sure. We don't have any specific information that lets us know here at the call center. If you go to www.usajobs.gov, that's where we have our applications for screener positions, and it'll show you the requirements, and also that just to do what I do, I had to go through a thorough background check that took a couple months, as well as a credit check.
Okay, so for your employment, we can't say obviously for the other 35,000 TSA employees, but at least for your employment, you had to go through a background check. So that was what, through like the state police or the FBI or something like that?
I think it was on a federal level. I don't know. It wasn't something that they gave me a lot of information on. I didn't think to ask if it was state or federal. But yeah, just to sit here and answer questions over the phone, I had to go through a background check.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good, I think. So at least you have been through a background check. We don't know about the others. And then at what point, I guess a new question does come to mind. At what point are there points, I guess, in the TSA where there are reviews, I should say, or inspections where TSA supervisors go to airports or maybe somebody even that doesn't work at the airport, an outside independent party that goes and watches TSA procedures to be sure that procedures are not or are being followed and abuses of passengers are not being carried out. Are there any kind of audits like that go on that you're aware of?
No, we don't have any information on if there's any outside sources that do. Yeah, there are supervisory staff there at the checkpoints, as well as customer support manager, which is over several. Well, let me rephrase that. Customer support manager can be over several different airports. I know one in here where I'm at, they actually have control of, I think, 4. That they go back and forth between making sure that everything's being followed the way it should.
Okay. And then, so does the screener have the final choice as to whether or not I fly?
Yes, sir. Yeah, if they think that there's something about your property and you're not willing to not fly with it that could be a threat, or if they think that you have something on you that could be a threat, then they can't make out for sure without having you undressed, which, like I say, they're not going to ask you to. Then at that point, they can say that you wouldn't be able to fly. Which, if that's the case, anybody who has a situation like that, they can always ask to speak with a supervisor as well.
Right. Well, when you talked about a resolution pat-down, which is the last-ditch effort, but you also said that at no time would I be asked to remove my clothing in a private screening, a private pat-down. If they cannot resolve the problem, you mentioned the problem of a cup. I had not, of course, thought of that, but say I am wearing a cup, but yet they're not going to ask me to remove my clothes, but I go for a pat-down privately. How is the TSA agent going to determine that it's in fact a harmless cup without me disrobing? How will they tell that?
Well, then, at the very last, I would think I could probably determine that with a resolution pat-down.
Right. That's what my question is. During this resolution pat-down, how would they be able to determine that it was a cup? Without me
know for 100%. But logic dictates, okay, this is a hard item. It's covering your genitalia. It's maybe even be able to feel, but with that resolution pat down, the holes they have the holes to let them breathe. It would be at their discretion. But okay, they're comfortable with, this is a cup.
Okay. So if it ever gets to the point where, and it could be me, could be my girlfriend, could be anybody. We'll just say it could be anybody. And if a person says then to a male individual who's a passenger says to a TSA agent that you cannot touch me there, you can't get, here's how far you can get to my, here's how close you can get to my genitals, and you can't touch my genitals, can the TSA agent then refuse to let that person fly? If the TSA agent deems that he needs to be able to touch this person's genitals.
If he feels that they need to have a resolution pat down to determine what an anomaly is, and that passenger just refuses, then yeah, they can tell them that they wouldn't be able to fly.
Right, and so you said the typical pat down procedure was they would go up my leg till they meet resistance, right? What other areas? What other areas then do they search after that?
They just whenever I went through one, up the arms, down the side, across the back, check the hem of your pants, the waistband of your pants, make sure there's nothing tucked in there, up your legs, down the outside of your legs, kind of across your chest and stomach a little bit. Make sure you don't have anything strapped to your body. That is pretty much it.
Now, if they go, you talked about the hem of the pants. Now, how do they search from outside, or are they allowed to loop their fingers over the top of my pants?
They may put their fingers just inside not the hem, the waistband.
Right, the waistband.
Just to make sure there's nothing tucked into the waistband.
Is there an exact figure or, I suppose, procedure about how far they're supposed to put their fingers inside the pants? Because I've seen varying standards at the airport. I'm not sure. Some appear to just pat the band down. Others appear to be looking inside people's pants, especially people with sweatpants or any
no,
kind
sir,
of.
We don't have any figures, or we don't have any specific information.
Right.
They're trained in us. They're to do it a certain way when they're trained for their jobs, but we don't have any information on that.
Right. This is why I wondered about like audit procedures, because I've seen a variety of different techniques when it comes to searching around the waistband of the pants, and I've seen some pat downs at security stations where I would have been highly upset if I was a male individual and I would have seen a male TSA agent, as I did, reach his hands in my pants as far as he did another passenger's. I would be highly upset. And it wasn't like it was some short matter of time. I mean, he took his time going around this gentleman's pants, and I think the gentleman was quite nervous about this. He obviously had nothing to hide. They let him fly. But I think he was a little bit upset about how much time the TSA agent was poking around in his pants there. So there is no kind of guideline in the TSA manual about, the tips of the fingers. You can put your fingers all the way up into, say, the third knuckle.
Not that we have access to.
Right. Because it seemed like there was some definite shortcomings on the part of the TSA agent about reasonable expectations from a prospective passenger, especially.
Well, if anybody ever has any issues with their screening experience, they can always speak. If they have a problem, they can always speak with the supervisor to find out if something was done improperly.
I see. And now, what happens to my? So I would not necessarily be selected for a pat down. Possibly, if I fly, is this a random type thing?
For the most part, it's only if there's an anomaly during going through a walk-through metal detector or the advanced imaging technology. Sometimes they do choose people just at random to go through a pat down procedure. For the most part, it's just whenever somebody sets off some kind of alarm.
Right. And now the metal...
Unless they ask.
The metal detector that you described now, it's more than a metal detector, right? Is it not a full-body X-ray machine?
No, sir. No. We've got two forms. We've got the walk-through metal detector, which is just an arch that you walk through, and that's all it is. It just detects metal. Then we have the advanced imaging technology, which scans the outside of your body. There's two forms of that, and depending on the airport and the technology they have at that given airport, they may have one form or the other. One form is called backscatter, and bring up the exact information on it so that I don't tell you the too backwards.
So AIT, the Advanced Imaging Technology, that's what I'm thinking of. That's the X-ray scanner, right?
Right. One that just uses radio waves to scan the outside of your body. The other form uses a very low dose X-ray to just scan like the outer edge of your body. It's not a X-ray that would penetrate and like show what you would see as if you were going to a doctor's office.
Right. Interesting. So on a picture now, they take what? Do they photograph any of this or videotape me going through the advanced imaging technology?
They wouldn't have photographs, but depending on the layout of that particular airport that you're going through, they may have cameras at the checkpoint.
They would have. Well, no, I mean an actual, not a video of me going through the scanner. I mean an actual video from the scanner itself. In other words, the video, what they would see on their, what the TSA agent would see on the screen is.
Oh no, they don't say no. Nothing's saved. They see it for just a second or two that they need to clear something, and then as soon as they hit next, it wipes it out.
Okay. So no digital images are stored.
I'm sorry?
So no digital images are stored then?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay. Well, this all makes me still a little bit nervous. And now, if I want to opt out of advanced imaging technology, let's say that's all they have at that particular airport, then at that point I would have to go through a pat-down, correct?
Correct.
And then are TSA agents trained to be any more suspicious of people who opt out of going through an X-ray machine?
Oh, no, not at all. We have lots of people, the studies that we've done and outside sources have done on the advanced imaging technology show that it's safe, that the low dose X-ray even is a lower dose X-ray than what you get just for being on that plane at altitude for 2 minutes during your flight. But we know that people are nervous about it, so anybody can opt out at any time.
Right. So if they opt out of advanced imaging technology, then they opt in to a pat-down.
Correct.
So in any case, there's obviously some kind of search going on here to be able to fly. Now, okay.
Right.
So one final question, just and this is from me to you as one American citizen to hopefully another American citizen. I hope you're not a terrorist type individual. Do you feel like our constitutional rights are being violated in this country on a daily basis, or do you think we follow the Constitution?
I can't really give an opinion, sir. You gotta keep in mind, I'm just a guy here sitting, trying to keep his job. So we're not allowed to give an opinion.
Right. Well, they pretty much got you under their thumb. I recognize that. I was asking you that as one citizen to another, not a taxpayer to a federal employee. But that's okay if you can't make an opinion about that. I would just encourage you to then at this point have a great day and question authority. Question everything.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great day as well, okay?
Yes, thanks. Bye.